And if you saw part one of this video, you already know that there's been several artists, managers, producers. Now we're going to get into the nitty gritty because there's names here that's going to shock you of people that have filed lawsuits and people implicated somehow into this Diddy scheme. Everything in my videos all alleged. Some are just things I've known just from being in Hollywood as long as I was and knowing the griminess of Hollywood. Actor Cuba Gooding Jr. is named as a defendant and accused of sexual assault. Now, interestingly, I met Cuba Gooding Jr. and his wife, who at the time in 2001, his children are half mixed children. Nice person. I have nothing to say about his wife. Seems like a sweetheart. From what I understand, I think they might be divorced now. I'm not 100% sure. Could you imagine? He's being accused of sexual assault. Now, in an amended complaint filed in March in Southern District of New York by Rodney Jones Jr., a music producer who goes by Little Rod, lists Cuba Gooding Jr. as a defendant. Jones accused Gooding of sexual harassment and sexual assault. Specifically, Jones accuses Holmes of grooming him to pass him off to Cuba Gooding Jr. The two were left alone in a makeshift studio on a yacht rented by Sean Combs. There, Cuba Gooding began, quote-unquote, touching, groping, fondling Mr. Jones. His legs, his upper inner thighs, near his groin, the small of his back, and even his buttocks, and his shoulders. This is all in the complaint. But the actor previously pleaded guilty to a misdemeanor count of forcible touching. Gooding's attorney did not respond to requests for comment from Business Insider. Ridiculous, right? Now, at the time of when I was living in California and working right across the street from Universal Music Group or Interscope, all that, I'd see these celebrities in and out all the time, and I'd hear stories that would creep you out. But y'all are familiar with Universal Music Group CEO Lucian Grange. Lucian Grange immediately has denied all wrongdoing. And the CEO of Universal Music Group and father-in-law to Sophia Richie, Lucian Grange is also listed as a defendant in the Jones amended complaint filed in the Southern District of New York. He is accused of aiding and abetting Sean Combs, specifically in racketeering and sex trafficking. The complaint says that CEO Grange had a duty to ensure that the financial support they provided to Sean Combs and Love Records, the nerve, was not being used for sex workers, drugs, and laced alcohol. Attorneys for Grange have filed a motion to dismiss, in which they called the accusations obviously offensively false. Grange called the accusations completely untrue and absurd. He plans to pursue both plaintiffs for having made such false accusations. Also points to the fact that he is the CEO of a multinational public company and is not ever going to be involved in some sort of day-to-day operation. And the plaintiff has now attempted to amend his claims against Sir Lucian, removing the original set of outrageous falsehoods related to Sir Lucian Grange, replacing them with wholly contradictory new falsehoods that are equally absurd, he said. Not only will we demonstrate that offensive falsity of these claims, but we will seek recovery of every single penny of cost of damage by their assertion. This is a man not to be effed with. That's what that sounds like. Out of all these people so far, he's the only one that basically the victim backed down. Sounds like they changed up their wording a little bit and made things sound a little less aggressive. But do you buy this? Everything happening right now with these attorneys settling, which is what I think they're going to do, is just going to keep things hidden as they always are in Hollywood. This is why victims are terrified to come forward. So we all remember that Justin Dior Combs, Diddy's 30-year-old son, was also somehow implicated in this whole thing, right? And is a defendant in Rodney Jones's amended complaint. Diddy's son is accused in a wide-ranging list of allegations as well. Soliciting sex workers and underage girls, as well as engaging in those freak-offs, being present in a room when somebody was shot, a friend by the name of G, was shot in a recording studio, implying that one of the sons of Diddy may have pulled the trigger. Justin Combs had his own attorney, and his attorney said that all of this is completely, utterly bonkers on his radio show Beyond the Legal Limit. It's clearly written in an effort to get as much publicity as possible, not only for the case, but for the lawyer whose name I don't even remember. Literally some maniac, he said. So this is all quotes from Sean's son, Justin, right? He said all these things on his show, right? But Lichtman, who is the attorney for Justin Combs, did not respond to requests for comment from Business Insider as well. So you know that Young Miami also is a part of this that's been mentioned in Jones's amended complaint as well. She is not a defendant, nor is she accused of sexual misconduct. She is listed as being a part of Combs's sex trafficking operation, though, and accused of bringing Combs Tucci, a drug sometimes called pink cocaine, on a private jet. The complaint says she was retained on a monthly stipend as one of Combs's sex workers. It also alleges that her cousin, named as Jane Doe 1, assaulted Jones, forcibly giving him oral sex without consent. This is nuts. Anyways, a representative for Young Miami did not respond to requests as well from Business Insider. Obviously know Stevie J is a longtime collaborator with P. Diddy and was recruited to help his businesses or whatever. But he, in this lawsuit, Jones alleges, again, that the Grammy winner, Stevie J, recruited sex workers and participated in Combs's freak-offs. Jones also accuses Combs of instructing Stevie J to teach him the type of sex workers to solicit and way to solicit them. Quick story time. There was a celebrity I know that has been in some major movies. Okay? Major movies. That's all I'm going to say. He has since passed away. I technically could just say his name, but I'm out of respect for the dead, I won't. But I remember going out with this guy, and he was using me as a front for his public image to look like he's with a woman, and he wasn't. But guess what he eventually started asking me for? Young boys, 13, 14, no older than 16. And he said that this was a part of something they had to do. Supply people above him that are paying his paycheck with young, underaged boys. Yeah. If you want more stuff like this, I could probably do a private subscribe, and I'll actually tell you the names of these people that did this. But I won't do it on major platforms like here, like a YouTube or TikTok. I mean, my videos would just get striked or taken down, and I don't need lawsuits. But I just thought that was incredibly disgusting. And needless to say, I tried to take him to church. I remember taking him to a church that was very popular back in the day called West Angeles Cathedral. A lot of celebrities went there. I remember even Beyonce in there at one point. Our black stars would go there too. Jones also accused Stevie J of sending threatening messages when Jones publicly asked Combs to pay him for his work on Combs's The Love album. The complaint also says that Combs used his connection to Stevie J and to pressure Jones into having smex. Quote, all right, from Stevie J, that he told TMZ earlier this month, "I have never seen my man do anything foul like what they're talking about. I've never seen it. I've known him for 29 years. Now, Stevie J's attorney did not reply to the request for comment from Business Insider as well. Don Richard. Kalina Harper was a member of the group Diddy Dirty Money, along with Richard and Combs. In Richard's complaint, she says that she and Harper were at Combs's home where they witnessed him yell at and choke Cassie Ventura before throwing a scalding hot pan of eggs on her and then dragging her up the stairs. Now, Richard's complaint says Harper led her out of the house, but that the two of them later spoke to Ventura and encouraged her to leave the relationship. Combs responded, by threatening them. All right, the complaint says. The complaint also says that Combs forced Richard and Harper to work for days on end without breaks to sleep, eat, or anything, and that the two weren't properly compensated for their appearances. This seems to be an ongoing trend with anybody dealing with Diddy. And in response to the lawsuit, Harper posted on Instagram While I fully respect Dawn's right to recount her experience, I want to emphasize that her account reflects her personal perspective and should not be interpreted as a universal truth applicable to everyone involved, she wrote in a story. Now, that's People reported that. It's important for you to understand that while I was present in some of the same professional settings mentioned, many of the allegations and incidents described in this suit are not representative of my experiences, and some do not align with my own truth. Harper was also mentioned by federal prosecutors during Tuesday's bond hearing. This was 2 weeks ago. I'm doing this video a little late, guys. I've been busy. During which prosecutors argued that Combs should not be released ahead of trial. Now, the prosecutor discussing Combs's contact with the witnesses said that between September 10th, the day Richard filed the lawsuit, and September 14th, the day Harper made her statement on Instagram, Combs called or texted Harper 58 times. Now we get on to Interscope Records co-founder Jimmy Iovine. Now, Jimmy Iovine witnessed Combs' assault on Ventura, one plaintiff said. Richard's complaint also included mention of Jimmy Iovine, the co-founder of Interscope Records and Beats Electronics. The complaint recounts a dinner party held by Sean Combs in the months leading up to a deal between his Bad Boy Entertainment and Jimmy Iovine's Geffen and A&M Records. Now, at this dinner in front of Jimmy Iovine, as well as other dinner guests, Neo, Usher, Ventura, and Combs had an argument that resulted in Sean Combs punching her in the stomach, causing her to double over in visual pain, crying, the complaint says. Even after Mr. Ivine watched Mr. Combs commit this violent assault in front of numerous other high-profile witnesses, the Bad Boy Interscope deal took place anyway and remained in effect, providing Mr. Combs with immense financial rewards and enabling him to commit further acts of violence without fear of repercussions. This is what the complaint says. Usher, Neo, and Ivine did not reply to a request for comment. There was that lawsuit by Thalia Graves, who claims that she was drugged and raped by Diddy at his Bad Boy Records studio in 2001. She alleged that he assaulted her and filmed her without her consent, and that the video was later sold. So we all saw Thalia Grave with Gloria Allred, and this is just one of the several lawsuits that has been brought against P. Diddy. And it's just, listen, there can't be this many people implicated in this, and you guys still have a hard time believing that Diddy is just a trail of badness. Okay, he's like a wrecking ball. All right. So anyways, Gloria Allred, I don't know. After watching the video of him hurting Cassie Ventura, I'm convinced of anything. Diddy was indicted in September 2024 in charges of racketeering, sex trafficking, and transportation to engage in prostitution. The indictment details that he organized these events referred to as freak-offs, where women were coerced into participating in drug-fueled sexual acts filmed without their knowledge. And Diddy's legal team is fighting tooth and nail for him against these charges. But he remains in custody at the Metropolitan Detention Center. So let's just really quickly end this with how the news has been covering this. Is just painting out Diddy to be the monster. Like if it's almost like he's been on a solo mission. It's the same way they did with Bill Cosby, they did with R. Kelly. Like there's not other participating people. These people have a trail of people. They have bodyguards. They have all these people that are surrounded around them that encourage and, in my opinion, are accomplices. Even the people who attended these freak-offs are accomplices. All right. They said nothing. They stood by. Now, whether or not they're going to come to the forefront and actually be there for the victims and actually be as a witness for the victims is going to be yet to be seen. Now, they have set a trial date. I believe it's going to be in like the spring or something, like May or March, or I don't know. I saw somebody on TikTok, a guy that was in the court claiming, that they already set a date, apparently, because Diddy wants a speedy trial. And let's just say if you've been denied bail like 3-4 times, you're going to definitely want a speedy trial. But let me just ask you guys at the end of this here, what do you think the root cause of these issues are? Why do you think society continues to fail victims? I think it's just this is the truth of the world we live in currently. There's a predator and prey mentality, and I did a whole video talking about predators, and Hollywood has a predator culture. But this isn't just Hollywood anymore. This is the world we live in, where victims are silenced, and this is why people are terrified to come out. And this is why you should not allow yourself to become a victim. If you want to watch videos on my tips on a little more watchful, a little more as somebody that lived in Hollywood, who has gone to deep, dark dungeon places where there's crazy events happening. But everything I witnessed was with adults. And there's a reason I never got invited back to the after parties, that's what I call them, was because I made it abundantly clear. I'm not participating in anything that's vile. But if I had seen something that was against a child or against a person as young as like a Justin Bieber or an Usher, when they were taken under Diddy's, shoulder or an arm, I would have said something. So shame on all these people that just stood by and watched. And remember, guys, have a great day and think for yourself.